everybody. Thank you so much for joining us after a quite a long sabbatical break from the Creatives podcast. It's been a minute, so thank you so much for tuning in after a bit of a while. I am one of two co-hosts, Simone Campbell.
And I am two of two co-hosts, Tevin Brown.
And today, our first guests of the new year, we have on, they are multifaceted, always doing something, at least as long as I've known them. They are co-authors, local actors, local improvisers, cosplayers, and all around very cool humans. Today we have on Brian and Michelle Guthrie. Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Go for it.
Go ahead. So we always like to start with our favorite question that just always feels like a great starting off point of how did you guys, kind of what is your origin story? How did you guys meet, come together to do all of the creative things that you do?
How we met?
Short version.
She tried to scare me in a haunted house and it didn't work. She thought I was a jerk and we didn't put that together for years.
Yeah, so we were actually introduced by a friend at college.
And we put that all together later, yeah.
Pretty
So
young.
that was in 1997, introduced at Christmas.
Okay.
I wasn't going to give the year. I was going to give the ages. But,
Don't worry.
but yeah, and then we just, I don't know, when we met and started getting to know each other, he felt like home, and we've kind of been home for each other ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And within like a year, we were already cosplaying. Even though it wasn't called cosplay at the time, we were costuming together already.
Heck
So.
yeah. I love that. So before we jump off to the other pieces, how did you guys connect the dots about the haunted house?
We started sharing stories later.
And I was talking about, one of the years I was working it and how this one guy came through and, I did my whole routine, whatever. And he looks at me and goes, "Nice try." I was like, what a jerk, right? And he's sitting there listening and he goes,
That was me. But I didn't just say nice try. I said keep up the good work. Like, I didn't hear that part.
Because he normally worked there. He was trying to be encouraging. It just, yeah.
Of the 9 nights that year, that was the one night I didn't work because I brought a group of kids through. And that was the one night she worked.
And you were like, I never want to see this guy again.
Pretty much.
And here we are. I love that. That's so cool. Yeah, so performance, even from its inception, your relationship's inception was a part of it. That's so cool. So how did you start getting into costuming, cosplaying, and how did that creativity kind of evolve into other forms of creativity?
I mean, honestly, for me, it was just a matter of, the creativity, the playing pretend, the enjoying the way that certain things look. That never left me from childhood. I just kind of
She had
decided.
such a unique style in college. It stood out.
Well, I decided I didn't want to outgrow it. I enjoyed it. There wasn't a reason to. And, eventually getting to the point where, we started going to conventions. That was much, much later. We'd already been married, 10 years, something?
2011 was our first convention.
Yeah. And discovering this was a thing that we could actually, connect with other people on, that was amazing.
One of the oldest pictures we have of each other is us cosplaying Han and Leia from the original Star Wars movie, acting like we're breaking out of the detention cell, and the detention cell is her dorm room window.
That's accurate.
Love that.
So good.
I still have the blaster.
Yeah, that's how you got out, right? I'm assuming.
Obviously.
Very powerful. I bet
And it
you're
was
already
all just for a Halloween. There was a Halloween party. They had a costume contest that night, and so we just decided, what the heck, let's do it, and that's how it started.
I love that. I love that so much. And I always want to cosplay more because I've only had a few opportunities to do it. But so that kind of is where everything started. A lot of different adventures. I know we, for instance, got the books over here. How did getting into writing and all of the different kind of really spearheading creative pieces get started?
Not very well. So I had been writing for a while at that point. When I was in, early high school, I discovered that people liked reading what I wrote if I wrote them into it, even if they ended up dying in it. And so that kind of started it. And the stories that came out of that were not very good. I think I described them to you earlier. That story, that thick, double-sided paper, it's a very, very heavy pile of crap.
And he
But-
wanted to throw it away, and I said, you can't. It's part of your story.
So you
Part
used
of
it
your
as an
journey.
example, you said, for students, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we show it off to people
don't
like this
do
is
this.
what you do. Don't do this.
Well, really, the point is, so both of us, we grew up as those kids who were creative in multiple ways, and we were complimented on our writing and everything. But then you get to the adult world and you start trying to do things for real, and all of a sudden, just being naturally gifted isn't good enough. And so the way that we use that is to say, you know, there's a difference between what you naturally have and what you learn. And the entire, you know, point is to be open to feedback, to look for good mentors, and to keep that growth mentality.
That was actually
Always.
number 2 on her list of requirements for people she would end up, you know, marrying. Number 1 was have to love cats. Number
Understandable.
and number
Yeah,
two
yes.
number 2 was be trainable.
Be dog-like, love cats.
Yes, exactly. I like that. Yes, love cats, but be dog-like. I'm using that from now on.
A much better way to put that is some relationship counseling things. They say that research has shown that people are more satisfied in life and in their relationship when they're open to the influence of their partner. And so I think that's a much better way to put it than, you know, my 19-year-old self saying be trainable.
But everybody understands be trainable.
Yeah.
So yeah. So on the writing part, I think we alluded to this earlier. It took a decade for me to let go of that original version and start getting help, start listening to other people and getting help from her, saying, "Okay, I'm ready to listen now."
We actually couldn't talk about his story for 10 years.
Wow.
Because I naturally wanted to tell him everything that I saw on it, including places where, you know, it could be better. And
She's being polite. It sucked.
no, you don't understand. I actually read your story to people on college trips and stuff. So, you know, I was supportive. But, and he just wasn't ready yet. And that's part of why, you know, that binder is part of the story. And he went to a writer's group at the local library, and he came home and he goes, "Okay, I need your help." And that was really, we didn't realize that what we were doing at the time was co-authoring, but that was really the beginning of it. He's the one who is able to structure the story and make sure the story gets written and pushes it through. But voice, character, and meaning, all of those were the things that I helped him start writing into it. And I used to be a teacher. My first degree is education. So I was taught how to teach people how to write. And so I would customize things for him that would help him to grow in the areas where he could use growth.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's such fantastic synergy that you guys have in the creative process, and to be able to do it in a way where you aren't at each other's throats, which is good, I believe most days. I'm curious, this is a detail that I already know because of our pre-existing relationship, that you were a counselor for quite some period of time. So I'm curious.
She has her master's degree.
A master's degree in counseling, yes. So I'm curious how your experience in a therapeutic setting, how that emotional intelligence informs your writing and your creative process.
I can give an example of this one.
Well, hang on. First off, I studied counseling for quite a while. I only actually counseled for a year. And that happened to be 2020, and it was a trial by fire. But,
Yeah, she starts her internship, and then COVID hits.
but it does factor into everything that
Oh,
I
yeah.
do in a lot of different ways.
So when she was getting her degree, and I was putting the finishing touches on what would become the final manuscripts for Rise and Fall, we were living in Germany. We had a basement, and there was 2 rooms down there, and we were on opposite sides of a wall. And so I would sit there, you know, writing on one side of the wall, and then if I encountered a point where I thought, okay, this is going to be complicated, I need to make sure I get this right, I would walk around, I would sit on her couch, because yes, she had a couch sitting there in her office, and I would wait for her to, you know, acknowledge that I was there, and then we'd go, okay, this is about to happen to our character. Is this response an appropriate response by the character? And then, now that we've established that, is this an appropriate response that's sometimes it was, is it beneficial for this character to respond this way? And other times it was, I want this character needs to react in a way that's negative to what just happened, right? Have the wrong response. So then I would bounce the ideas off of her, and she would give me the actual educated answer, like this is in clinical terms, this is what this is, and this is how it can help, and this is how it cannot help. And then I would take that, go back across, write it, and bring it back to her later read it and see, like, okay, yeah, that works, or no, that doesn't work. How does...
We were also volunteering with refugee outreaches at the time. And it's interesting because it's kind of like all of those different parts of our life got woven in whether we meant to or whether we realized it or not. And on some of what he was saying, it wound up helping a lot in the long run. May I grab mine?
Yes, please.
Okay, so Brian is...
And it fell.
All fell at last. Yes.
Brian is a veteran, and he does have PTSD from his time in service. And after we left Germany and he left active duty, that was actually when all of the symptoms really started pouring in, almost like his brain had time to start processing. And we went through, as a whole family, a very dark time. And during that time, I went through and I reread Rise. And all of these bookmarks in here are things that I marked out that I thought would help him in his healing journey, or that would remind him of who he is. And I knew that he might not be ready for that right away, but that I wanted to have that there as he became ready. And it's interesting because writing actually became a part of his therapy plan. I could never be his counselor, but as an assignment, I am the one who wrote his therapy plan. And he takes that when he goes to providers, and they've been using it ever since. And one of the goals was to be able to get to the point where he could start writing his own story, where it wouldn't be disguised, but he would be able to start telling his own story again. And I'm not trained in it, but I've studied narrative exposure therapy a lot, which is a type of trauma therapy that really works on reuniting the two sides of the brain and getting to the point where you can tell your story in a logical, sequential manner and be able to say, that was then, this is now, and this is who I am through it.
And if I can, on that point right there, in the first book, there are several scenes where one of the characters is not able to communicate what they need to communicate, and one of the other characters then starts telling another story, or letting the other person who they recorded tell the story. And then that allows that character to unlock what's needed, so then they can start talking about their part. And there are several points where that character gets derailed, and they have to take very careful steps because it's very obvious that they've gone through some form of trauma and they're having a hard time putting the story together. It's almost, and this was all written, like the book was published in September of 2016. The moments that she's talking about with me having to work through the therapy and also like that was in 2018. So it predicted it.
Wow.
And then we also realized that, without even meaning to, the entire world was a metaphor for trauma and for recovery after trauma. Their world has literally been shattered, and it can't be put back together again. It's not going to be the same. And a lot of times, we all go through those times where it feels like our world's been broken, and we know that it will never be exactly the same again. And part of what we're saying here is that doesn't mean there's not an adventure and a story and meaning to be found.
Yeah, the cover of the book, actually, if I may, it's literally just a picture of their world. This is the center, all their water's up here, and they're living on fragments of their planet. So it's not, even their world isn't like a world anymore.
Yeah.
One of the central struggles of the book is them coming to terms with that, and how all this time later, when this story starts to take place, they still haven't come to terms with it, and they're still trying to figure out how to make it like it was.
I see the allegory.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So accepting that that's what the world is going to be like going forward, accepting that your life has changed because of what happened, that's one of the things in the story that some of the characters and the people in the world have to accept.
That's so beautiful. And we're like,
I love all of that so much. I love you guys' chemistry and synergy, and just not only the way that you both talk about each other, but talk about the journey that you both have been on. And I want to, before going into my next question, preface thank you for your service. And I'm sorry for the mental battles that you've had to face because of that. With that, and having originally published the book in 2016, all of the revelations coming in 2018, is that right?
Yeah, that was when all of it started.
I know we got her side for when the synergy for the book kind of began after that, the writers' meeting in the library, but I was curious on your side, what was the epiphany moment where you finally not only realized, like, I do need help with this book, but also felt comfortable enough to step forward and be
That's
like...
a funny story.
Okay.
It's short, too. It involves an erotica writer.
Okay.
That's the library.
So the library, the group, it was actually put on by the New York best time selling. I'm having a hard time with the word there. Author, romance author, and she wanted to help other authors. So there was a mid-school author, there was an erotica author, a couple other different things. I was the only science fiction / fantasy. So when I first brought the story there, they read it, and the erotica author, she looked at the story going, okay, I like the people, I like the characters, I like the story, I hate the setting. Like, it doesn't feel like the setting is a part of the story. And this is 2009, roughly, so about 6 years after Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King premiered and everything. And she said, go back to that trilogy that was earlier this decade. Look at the land. Look at the world. The farther they went, the more the world became evil and became a part of it. She's like, maybe do something to the world to make it more a part of it. So I went home and I thought, that's not a bad idea. Because the word she actually used was, why don't you just, like, I don't mean like tear it up and all start all over again. You don't have to start from scratch. You got good characters, but her words are right. Like, let's just tear it up and start it all over again. And that was, so I did. I just ripped the world apart and started the story after it. I thought, actually, this works real well. Yeah. And that was that epiphany moment of, oh, this is what she's been talking about this whole time. And that was when it's like, yeah, I need to go back to her now, not just that authors group, because that was once a month. That was a month later when I finally got, and she thought she really was kicked. I didn't mean start from scratch, and I said, no, but it was a good idea. Now the world is much more interesting.
It was literally torn apart.
Yeah, but that was that moment, that epiphany moment was from that author pointing that out, like, this is what she's been talking about. So now I need to go back to the original person who's been saying this all along.
Even then, it took us a long time to realize what co-authoring meant to us. And because he was the one actually pushing the story through for a long time, it was only his name on the cover. And we were actually, we didn't realize it, we were sitting on the couch, and he will actually take out his phone and record our conversations sometimes, and that will get woven into the book. And at some point we were sitting there and we're like, wait a minute.
That's what this is.
This is co-authoring, isn't it?
It was. It's really like this. Like, can you say that again one more time, please?
And we decided to make that more intentional. So that change only happened about a year ago.
Yeah, we were selling books at Barnes & Noble when I noticed that the cover of Rise had been changed to match the new release of Fall. And then I emailed the publisher, like, we can change the cover. And like, yeah, what do you want to do? It's like, let's put her name on there. And they managed to get it done for her birthday. That was her birthday present last year.
Perfect.
I won from all the family. Like, I got the best present.
You definitely won birthday.
That time.
Oh, wow. It's so exciting. And just to see your success, again, the books look fantastic, that so much humanity has been woven into them, so much of your relationship and your own history. I'm curious, in these final few minutes, kind of zooming out from the intimacy of writing and that kind of creativity to being behind the camera and how you broke into that and eventually moving towards improv, which is how we met.
Oh.
You can blame Cosplay for that.
Yes.
We were at a convention, and she has her own story for how she decided to break into acting.
Which is too long for right now.
But one of the actors from Breaking Bad, Patrick Fabian, he found out that she was there to meet Noah Hathaway, who happened to be sitting right next to him. And he found out that she was breaking into acting, and he actually came over to our booth and sat down and gave her about a half an hour of free coaching lessons. And one of the things he said was, go to the box, take improv.
Wow. What?
And I think, was it 6 months before or after that? I just want to give a nod. John Billingsley also.
6 months.
Yeah, he sat down for quite a while with me and kind of gave me some coaching. And I had said, I was afraid to say that I wanted to act or that I was going into acting. I said I was dipping my toe in the water. And he goes, no. Come up with a 3-year plan. If you're going to do it, decide to do it. Decide what kind of roles you want to play and really start working on it.
Also at a Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Wow. So yes, we can thank
So
Cosplay
kind of
for
all
that.
ties
Yes, you can.
together,
You can play
yes.
cosplay because
Yep.
they'll see us in the characters, and they'll like, oh, they want to take pictures, they want to ask about it. Plus, we want to talk to them. And I also kind of have a cheat card when it comes to meeting people. My service dog, who's currently not here, everybody wants to meet Groot, even talent.
Groot is the cutest.
Because they're traveling, and they don't have their animals there. So like, if you want a moment with mine, go ahead and take it. So we end up meeting a lot of people that way. They're just like, oh, so you want to break into acting, and suddenly they're talking.
So we also can thank Groot.
Yes, yeah, you
Very
can kind
much
of
so.
thank Groot.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess time always goes too fast, but I want to round out kind of everything with one of my favorite questions that we do every episode is whether it's one sentence or a paragraph or bullet points or anything, but advice to any creative of any age on breaking into their personal field.
Be a lifelong student is mine.
Be a lifelong student. I have one for people who want to break into writing, 150 creative words every day. Not emails, not blog posts, not even notes. 150 words. And if you're going to do story prompts, like writing prompts, because people like to do writing prompts, writing drills, try to make them like purposeful. Like I do writing prompts and writing drills in the universe. So I end up with all these other short stories that can explain things that might get shared later as like appendices to, like there's one in Fall. There's going to be another one in Shadow. They're short stories. They were all writing prompts just to get the creative juices going so then I could jump in. So for writers, 150 words every day. Don't skip.
And I would also say, even if you're not naturally a people person, be able to get along with and talk to people. That's how you find your mentors. That's how you get inspiration for good characters and make them more real. That's where you get your support. You can't do it alone, and that's really the point of the series. The next 2 books coming up are Shatter, and the last one is Unite. And this started out with a single main character. It no longer has that. It has an ensemble. And the reason why is because we're never at our strongest when we're alone.
Absolutely.
And being able to tap into the people that you know, knowing people, you never know how it's going to change your thing. There's a story in there that is now more fully expanded because one beta reader was frustrated with this character, and in their notes they kept saying, why aren't they answering this? Why aren't they asking this? Why aren't they asking this? And so when we went through and edited it, we broke the story apart and had to mask it, and in the process discovered there was a whole other story underneath it that makes the ending even better. So
Thank
that
you,
whole
Tevin.
thing, that knowing who you know and then just listening to the people. Like you never know what advice is going to come, like from, say, an erotica writer or from a beta reader that's going to literally transform your story and make it so much better. Or your movie or whatever it is you're making.
Takes a village, always.
It does.
Well, we want to make sure that people can find you after they finish this episode. So what projects that you can speak on? Can we see you behind the camera? Do you have cons coming up? Where can we find your book?
So the local Comic-Cons, we do all the cosplay panels for them. So the next one is supposed to be in June. That's Duke City. We will also be at El Paso Comic-Con, but that one is just appearing as authors.
Okay.
And we've started doing Santa Fe too.
Santa Fe Comic-Con also.
So we present cosplay panels there, and you can find us on Instagram as a Colbera Cosplay.
Which would be up on the screen at some point.
Perfect.
And you can look up either one of our names on Instagram and see some of the other things that we're into. One of the big things we're working on right now that we're going to go work on right after this is a film called Letters. And that's not our original idea, that's not our original project.
The director...
We came on in smaller roles and have been fortunate to be able to become more and more a part of that project.
Yeah, I interviewed to just be crew. And then you know how it is when you're on set. If a director says, say this line, you just do it because you don't know why they need you to. Maybe they just need it to pace.
Yep.
She's like, say this line. And so I said the line. She's like, would you like a roll? I'm like, okay. And then eventually when she came along to one of them, they had her read opposite me, like, actually, would you both mind? And so then we've just been involved a little bit more in that. So the
Perfect.
director is Charlotte Sayes, I think is how you say her last
Cool.
name. Yeah, so that's where we're going as soon as we finish here.
Fantastic. That, and you should check them out in season 8, or episode 8 of season 1 of Pluribus. You guys are in the
Oh,
background.
right.
Yes.
Yes.
Very visible too.
Very visible,
Yep.
briefly.
Yes, but they're there.
That was an amazing. That was my first day on set as background. His first day doing background at all, and I just have to say that team, that experience, it was wonderful, and we really appreciate
So cool.
that so much of that show is being
And-
done here.
And the day before, Ray Sahorn insisted on meeting us because of Groot.
Perfect.
She saw him when we were doing the fitting, and she's like, "Can I come say hi?" He's like, "Sure." He's not working right now. So she is as nice as she appears. She really is one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Green flag. That's good.
Good. Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show with us
Yeah,
today.
Thank you for
thank
having
you.
us.
I always feel like we run out of time way too fast because I have like a million questions.
Every
that I
time.
want to
Yep.
ask.
Offline, you can ask questions offline.
Oh, perfect.
We'll meet after.
All right, let's get offline. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of the Creators Podcast. We're so happy to be back. Once again, my name is Tevin Brown.
And I'm Simone Campbell.
And I would like to thank Studio 519 for always letting us film here and dealing with us, and they get to deal with us for another year and another and another. I would like to thank Catharsis Media for all of their amazing help behind the scenes. Also, please be sure to check us out on Studio 519 and Catharsis Media's channels. Studio 519's channel is channel 27, Catharsis Media is channel 96. You can also catch us on RM Entertainment, RME Free TV, which you can get on your Roku TV and your smartphone devices. Just go straight to your app store and look up RM Entertainment, and it'll be a little red button. And it's completely free. You can check us out on there. You can also check out all of the amazing content they have on there, as well as for Studio 519 and Catharsis Media, that applies the same. I would like to thank our amazing producer, DanGil, for all that he does behind the scenes. I would like to thank our amazing guests that always come on, and I can't wait to look for another year. And please have a safe week.
Thanks, guys.